Blue 32. Blue 32. Set. Ha!
Hey again, and welcome to the Grey Matters Weekly Football Wrap-Up and Preview Show. We'll discuss what caught our attention from the week that was and forecast each matchup, player to watch, and our lock bet for the week. As always, please note that none of our comments regarding gambling are to be considered advice for you to follow. And if you have a gambling problem, please seek help. And once again, we are not the place to get that help because we lost two. Let's just have some fun with it.
At this point.
Right.
All right. But let's go ahead and get right into it, boys. Andre, give us a rundown what we got.
Absolutely. Man, this was week 2 was
a doozy.
There was a lot going on in week 2. I still don't count all the stats and everything just because it's only 2 weeks. Let's not panic, y'all.
Right.
But there were some tells. There was definitely some tells and some overcorrections from what happened in week 1.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead, Billy. Let's start off with just pick a game and run it down for us. What jumped off the screen to you?
Well, I'll say this. It's interesting that you said tells because I'm going to give a really, really, really big tell. And we danced around this when we were talking about this several weeks ago doing our previews for the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
If Tua is upright, that trophy is going to Miami.
I told y'all.
If Tua is standing upright,
came over to the dark side
in January. No, I'm just being honest. Now, here's the thing. I say that only to say that I was one of those people that felt like if Tua's upright, they're gonna be somebody to reckon with. Like they're gonna be a hard out.
Mm-hmm.
Nah, man, ain't gonna be no out.
Because Ramsey coming back in about 2 months.
Tua is standing upright.
Mm-hmm.
Book it. It's gonna be Philly, and I mean it's gonna be Philly. In my opinion, it's gonna be Philly and Miami and Vegas. Now, again, I still have questions because the problem with Tua is all it takes is one little thump on the noggin for it to go wrong. Right. That's just how it is with concussions, especially with the severity and the amount he's had. But man, if somebody don't get him up on that helmet, hit him on that dolphin, man, Miami. I'm sorry, I'm saying that even with the Chiefs with Mahomes being Mahomes, Chiefs being the Chiefs, I don't care nothing about no healthy Joe Burrow. I don't care nothing about who gonna come out in it. No. Miami, I ain't gonna lie. With the first 2 weeks, it's kind of been under the radar. Man, Miami, they have been the most impressive all-around football team I've seen in the past 2 weeks.
Yeah, what about you, Paul?
My tell is Sean Payton is actively trying to, through the media, as a matter of fact,
he doxing this man.
He's doxing this dude. It don't make no sense because it's so obvious because Russ is actually playing. He's balling. Hey, Russ is balling. And he's like, well, I mean, I guess he want Russ to play linebacker or
crazy.
Safety or something.
Russ, here's the thing. Balling might be, but he's not the problem at all. Russ is doing.
Yeah,
it ain't even just he's doing enough. Because I remember we talked about this the first week. I didn't really pay attention to that game. I actually went back and looked at this past game because obviously the second half, both games, they kind of fell off. You're right, man. Like Sean Payton, and I'll put it to you this way. For those who don't pay attention to the Grey Matters, maybe this is the first time you're watching us, or you just kind of only paid attention to the football shows.
Mm-hmm.
Paul kind of got that conspiracy theory thing. Like you got to be careful with the 10 hats around him, right?
Wow.
But you know what though?
Sometimes I ain't gonna lie. People right.
Hey, this might be the one where it's like, hey Andre, maybe
he was hired to
dox him.
get rid of. He was hired to get rid of
He was
Russ.
hired to get them off
And
of
Russ
that money.
And Russ ain't fitting the narrative because Russ is running his offense.
And
Now,
so the second half, he's running plays that it's like, for real?
Well, the second half is when the coordinator and which is Sean Payton, is when he takes over the play calling based on the data that you get off of the script, which is either sometimes between 10, 15, 20 plays, right? Depending on the experience of your quarterback and how well he knows the offense, correct?
Yeah.
All right. Now, after that is when coordinators earn their money, is when you make adjustments based on what the defense is giving you, and then you counter what you think their counters will be. Right?
Yeah. Right. No, that's textbook. Yeah.
So if the offense is bogging down in the second half, whose fault is that?
It's the OCs. And to not lend credence, but also I can see what you're saying is Sean Payton's unusually calm in the second half when things are falling apart.
He sits
and
like
if you've ever watched him coach,
he's fire hot.
He fire
all the time.
Yeah,
pacing religiously all the time.
Yeah.
So for the fact that it's falling apart, and he like, all right.
He's like, this is and not only that, but this is something I don't know if you paid attention to, Paul, because this is one of those moments where it's like it's airtight. I'm with Paul on this one. I even noticed some of the weird kind of personnel groupings where it was like, why are you even in this formation on like 2nd and 3? Kind of. It was weird. In other words, the play calling, it looked preseason-ish, if that's the way I can explain. It's almost like if I didn't know any better, I would think it was week 2 of the preseason, and you're trying to see this player, see how this play is going to work. And it's like, you know what to do here. You know what to do here. Why are you even
let's take it back to New
personnel, you can't come out of you don't have confidence to come out of a play and do something different because you don't have who you need out there.
Okay, well, let's take it back to New Orleans when Sean Payton was in New Orleans. When they won that Super Bowl, that was special teams and defense. That was not his offense.
What's the guy's name? Bounty Gate dude.
Greg Williams.
Man. Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
My guy Williams. Yeah.
And if you looked at the last few years when he was in New Orleans, his offense did nothing with the Hall of Fame quarterback Drew Brees and Slant Boy.
Well, we don't even have to go that far. This is another one of those when Paul got the tin hat right. Was the way that they did.
Baby. I ain't going off of feelings.
The way that they did Jameis, because you know how I feel about Jameis, but the way they did Jameis in exchange for my man, the Swiss Army knife, Taysom Hill, I'm like, nah, man. I have questions. I have questions about Sean Payton. Yes, Paul, you definitely own one there.
Got it. So much like Paul, the thing that stuck out to me is also on coaching and not on the positive side of coaching. There's 2 coaches that deserve some, well, actually 3 that deserve some smoke after last night's kind of.
You got a whole list here, huh? You taking notes. He just been on red zone, like just.
One, it was
I got notes too, boy.
Matt Canada.
I knew Canada was coming up. I didn't even want to say it for you. I just wanted you to say it.
Oh, and that is the fact that they are rushing for, 6 yards, 8 yards. And we're not talking about a play. We're talking about for the entire game. Like you got to be better. Like the fact that, people are noticing on television that you cut in the field in half.
Yeah.
And
the announcers are like, hey man, what the problem is?
Like the fact that if Kenny Pickett ain't it, Kenny Pickett ain't it. But damn, at least go down swinging to find out if he is. Like cutting the field in half is the same thing you did to Mitch Trubisky, and without the athleticism. Like
that's high school,
right? Like,
to your point though, Paul, with the whole that's high school. Didn't he come straight out of college, like to get the coordinator position?
Well, he was Ben Roethlisberger's guy.
But I'm saying prior to that.
Right. Well, I mean, but he's because you remember Ben Roethlisberger didn't like the old OC
Haley.
Right. Yeah.
Haley, yeah. So then they got him, and so he rode out for like the last 3-4 years.
I'm only saying that the only thing I'm saying is sometimes they elevate these dudes.
Oh,
it's clear that they don't have the.
We are getting there because that's another coach.
I know exactly where you're going after this one.
Let's go ahead and go there. My man, Nathaniel Hackett.
He's been on this one. He been Birdmanishly waiting for this one for like the whole preseason.
How about we got the pot and the kettle? Right? Sean Payton, now we on the Hackett, the pot and the kettle in this segment.
Man. Nathaniel Hackett, for those who may not know, he got fired from Denver last year as doing one of the poorest coaching jobs in modern NFL history. One of the poorest jobs he was doing was running the offense. And a lot of people, right and wrong, we couldn't separate whose fault it was between him and Russell. So they got him out of there. Russ started cooking a little bit towards the end of the season. So it lent more towards maybe it was Nathaniel Hackett.
He at least knew where the pots were in the cabinet. Like he knew how to get to the utensils.
He could boil some water, put some salt in the water, and put some spaghetti in it. Like he was doing all right. So then Nathaniel Hackett gets the job with the Jets. Most people wouldn't be qualified. If you had the last place offense in the league, you wouldn't necessarily be hired to run somebody else's offense immediately.
To get a coaching job where you're coaching a Super Bowl contender and a Hall of Fame quarterback, you don't fail up.
Yeah.
And so they did that, and I took flack for it for saying the only reason he has his job is because of Aaron Rodgers.
No, you didn't.
I'm not saying you
didn't take no flack.
That's not between you, but there's some people that we know. That tried to defend the hire, and we'll just see what it is. Well, now that we see what it is,
ain't nothing to see.
We've seen enough. We have seen enough. I'm not even saying that Zach Wilson is that guy. I think he's an average quarterback. He can be average, but he cannot be average with Nathaniel Hackett calling plays. Like the fact that you refuse to run the ball to even give him an opportunity.
And you got dogs in the backfield.
You got dogs in the backfield and at wide out. Like, like play action should be real easy. And they didn't have any. Dallas had zero concerns about your running game, and they just got the tee off. Like you didn't even try to throw a change up to make it where it was like, oh, what? The only
you could have screened him to death and slowed up Micah. Yeah. That's why wasn't you running screens in quick game? Why wasn't you? If you was going to pass it all, you run screen game. You run screen.
That is why Micah was literally his ears was back.
He didn't have to worry about nothing. He was a dog chasing a car.
What did what my man say? What's my man say? He said, who was it? I'm looking at his face, but he said, you basically watch for the run on your way to the quarterback. Like, my job is to go get the quarterback, but I gotta at least pay attention to the run. Michael Parsons, there's nothing to pay attention to.
And you didn't put in max protect. Like you literally did everything. Like
no help.
And it's not even like the world don't know that the Jets offensive line is shaky. Y'all said it on national television. Like you literally had a segment on Hard Knocks that said our offensive line is shit.
And we watched Aaron Rodgers get
but then you didn't do anything to protect him.
Yeah, exactly. I was just about to say, for all the crap I give Zach Wilson, you got to get a kid a chance. He's more talented than Mark Sanchez.
Yes.
Just pure talent. Absolutely. Yeah.
Pure talent. Yeah. You could Mark Sanchez that
Funny thing is, Mark Sanchez said that last week on FS1. He was talking about it.
Yeah.
He was like, y'all got to help him out because this over.
Run the ball.
Run the ball with
throw it away and punt.
You got two all-pro running backs for the most part. And Zach got some wheels. Like, put some stuff in there where
what's funny you say that, Andre? I'll say this. I bet he's not going to be any of our favorites. I bet you Greg Roman would find a way to do something. I'm just saying, like, call it what it is.
Just like that man.
I was getting ready to say, I know he's not a favorite of anybody here. Greg Roman would find a way to get something out of Zach Wilson.
Real talk. He come in there with that Kaepernick package, just like he did for Lamar.
Yep.
And like you said, like Zach Wilson is a hell of an athlete. Like he might be a dork or a goofball, but he's a stud of an athlete. And he can run and jump and throw the ball as much as you want.
And you're not going to do 12 design runs for him.
Yeah.
But you can do 5 or 6.
Man, I run QB power with that kid. I swear to God, I would.
You got to run 4 or 5 times a game. Something else to look at. Like
shorten the game.
They didn't give the Cowboys. Yeah, that's the other part. You didn't get the Cowboys anything different to look at, and you didn't shorten the game.
Yep.
Shorten the game, get in the huddle, use the whole 40, give your defense a chance to at least get 2 cups of Gatorade. Come on now.
Right.
Have a conversation. Like, hey, what you saying over there? Like, they ain't have a chance to talk, nothing.
They didn't get on the treadmill. They ain't get on the bike yet. Like
shorten the game.
And
so you got Canada, you mad at Canada.
Nathaniel Hackett is getting a lifetime ban. And lastly, Chicago Bears. The
as lack a staff record label and a crew.
Man, the failure that they're putting Justin Fields through. Like, I get it. Justin Fields ain't reading the field as fast, and that was one of the things I always said that he was going to have a trouble with, because offensive line is different at Ohio State versus when you get to the NFL, where you don't have to decide as quick. But they're not helping this man. Like, I literally watch game after game, and I watch a lot of games. Like, between the three of us, y'all, we watch a lot of football.
Yeah, I'm watching like 3-4 at a time at all times.
Yeah, and so we see the games where the coach says, wait, things aren't going right. Let me give him an easy throw. Let me give him, let me eliminate the read portion of all of this. Hey, on 3, throw it there. And this is when you plant your back foot, throw it to DJ.
Word to Sean McVay.
Sean McVay, it literally is just like, yo, I'm going to eliminate some of these reads. You're just going to take care of it. Well, I'm going to read it for you. Let's just 3-step here. 5
I've seen Cooper open. Just wait for it to clear. He's going to be there.
And that's your throw. Like, just, I mean, and
it's plays where you absolutely, there's no decision to make. You can't miss. And I'll tell you another, speaking of coaches I can't stand. What's my man in Cleveland?
Stefanski.
He used to do that for Baker Mayfield. Like you talk about when it gets bogged down, and they was like, we just got to keep his confidence up. Baker, he used to do that all the time. Yeah. And it would only be for 4 yards. But it would be something where it was like, let me hurry up and find somebody.
What's like in basketball when a guy gets fouled and he just needs to see the ball go through the net.
Yep.
But the Bears are doing, and their easy throw is a far hash out.
Yeah, far hash back shoulder.
Let this man throw a 5-yard hitch and call.
Didn't Eberflus come? But Eberflus is from the Eagles, right? He's a.
He's not like I think he's part of. Man, he won a Super Bowl for us. Jacksonville's coach. He's part of that tree. Why can't I think of Jacksonville?
Why? It's again, like we're talking about with Zach Wilson. Why would you let David Montgomery get out of the building, first of all? And why wouldn't you run some? Why wouldn't you call up, the old coordinator for Cam or Greg Roman or like? Why wouldn't you?
Right. That's all I'm saying.
And build and develop him from the inside out.
Yes. Yeah.
There are coaches.
Same way Donovan McNabb was developed, inside out. Donovan McNabb they were calling design runs for him. Andy was calling runs for him early on, and then turned him into a pocket passer inside out.
There are coaches where it's like
playing took with Mike Vick too. Like, hey, let's just start here. And
there's Peterson, by the way.
Yes, Doug Peterson.
But what'll happen is coaches will run their course.
Yeah.
And it's like your time is up here. Kind of like Andy Reid didn't stop learn. He didn't know how to he didn't stop knowing how to coach. His time was just up in Philly. It was time to move on. But there are guys where it's like, man, what, like, just go look at their playbook or go watch some film, and this stuff ain't hard. You gotta sit, and it's like, it's not that he's not a great nobody expects Wilson to be a great quarterback. Just like I don't ever expect
you number 2 overall. They expect you to get a gold jacket.
No, what I'm saying is Fields. I'm saying right now, today, they're not in year 5 or 6 or 8 where it's like, okay, time's up. We've seen it, but it's almost like they're speeding up the clock on them because they're not.
Year 3. They only give you 3 years now.
But the thing is, they haven't gotten anything in the first 2.
I understand exactly, but they got Alex Smith. Remember, he had 7 coordinators and 7 coaches in 7 years.
That kind of stuff, man.
Yeah, now that's
Baker Mayfield.
Those are the huge cautionary tales. But here's the goofy thing is, and all of us have seen this because we've all been in those in our locker room
goofy situations
where it happened. Man, coaches steal plays all the time. Like, I saw this work against us. We add that to our playbook.
Facts.
So if you sit there and you ain't got like you have enough humility to do that, why can't you just steal somebody else's offense or hire the person that runs that offense? And like that's the part that makes me upset is like, maybe you got something against Greg Roman. That's fine. He got 5 years worth of tape that you can look at and steal his plays. Though, like,
throw it, slide that man.
Don't look,
Call your owner, have him slide that man about $300-400 grand and tell him to come in as a consultant.
Man,
that's all you do.
And just help you with your install in the off season.
That's all it is.
That's it. Just help me install this.
And he can go get another job if he wants to, or go back on TV or something. But there's no reason for you to not be able to have more creativity mentally on how you're going to do it.
It's weird. And I guess you see this in basketball too, but in football, it's weird that coaches will see a player and they won't use the player the way that he was used that made you want the player. They'll look at that player and say, "Oh, I can make him.
I can make him this,
do this, or I can make him do that." And it's like, no, use him. Whatever you saw that made you want him, use him exactly that way.
Right. This is why, in most lists that I put together, Andy Reid is in the top 3 of coaches in history because he does what that player can do. Whatever that player does well. And you even see it last year when they got, Tony and then they got Sky Moore and things like that. Right. It's like, Sky Moore is not a complete wide receiver, but he's fast. All right, well, I'm going to just drop something up for the fast people. Like, let's just do fast things. Right. Tony, he's not a great route runner, but he's quick as hell. Well, what do quick people need? Get quick people the ball early. Let them do their
space.
And you even settle for the fact that they're going to drop a couple here and there.
Yeah, but we're going to keep them back because this is what you do. You I'm not drafting Sky Moore to be Devontae
100 ball a year type of guy. Move the sticks.
He's not Anquan Bolden. No, he's not Larry Fitzgerald.
So to Paul's point, there's a lot of coaches that keep trying to fit people into systems as opposed to putting their system around people. And the most successful coaches are the ones who do it the other way, which is like, hey, I got
Hoodie.
I was going to say Hoodie.
I got my system.
But here's the problem with Hoodie. Player. Hoodie won't let you grow. Hoodie will say, "Hey, you run that 9 route great," and the only time you'll ever play a down for him is when he needs a 9 route ran. He won't. You don't work on your 7s. Don't work on your 6 or your 5.
What you over there practicing the 1 route for? Like, what you doing a 0? What you mean?
You wasting time on that back shoulder.
You wasting my time.
That back shoulder is not you. I got a back shoulder guy over here. That's his thing.
If I see you do it again, you'll be on the way.
Right. Yeah.
You're overstepping your bounds. Man, so moving on though, a game. What game kind of stood out that made it where it was like, I didn't see that coming. What you got, Paul?
I'm gonna say Seattle over Detroit.
That was a good game.
I did not see that coming because, like I said, I picked Detroit only because historically Seattle does not play well when they travel east for 1 o'clock.
Right.
Because it's 9:30, 10 o'clock in their mind.
9:30 in the morning, right? So pregame is like 5, 6 in the morning. You see what I'm saying? Like as far as like walkthrough and whatnot and getting taped and everything. So, and that's most West Coast teams. It ain't just Seattle. But I did not see them going into Detroit because, especially with Detroit coming off that big win versus Kansas City, I did not see them going in there and taking it to them.
Ski masked up, and they still and they still took it to them.
And quietly,
that was a good
Geno has one of the best wide receiver groups in the league.
Yeah, his wide receiver room is
legit.
He's got everything he needs.
Geno throwing that thing.
Geno could always spin it.
I know he could.
Just don't like getting hit. Now, if you hit Geno, it's over for you. He's like Tua.
Yeah.
Now he won't be hurt, but he'll start seeing ghosts and he'll start getting erratic with the ball. And
that's where all his
clock going hyperdrive as soon as you
right. You can rattle Geno.
Mm-hmm.
Him and Tua are in the same, but if you can keep him or Tua clean, they can spin that thing.
Yeah. Right. What you got, Billy? What was your shocker? There was a lot of them. So
I'll tell you. And here's the thing. I don't even know if I'll say shocker. I'm gonna do it like I did last week. The freshman game that caught my attention, that kind of made me kind of stand up and look. I liked what I saw out of the Colts beating Houston, and I know nobody cared. Like people was
that boy needs to get smarter, or it's gonna be Minshew mania. Do not let that man stay in the huddle. He will take your job. He's like Fitzpatrick.
I think here's the thing: if he wasn't for the fact that they drafted him so high, Minshew looked nice.
I thought Minshew would beat out Hurts last year. Honestly,
the Colts could actually be that team, and I picked the Titans, but the Colts could actually be that team in the South because it's the weakest of all the divisions. Right. Clearly, like it's not even 2 weeks in, it's not even close. Yeah. The AFC South is like, it's like the weakest. But the fact is, the Colts kind of that. Now the next game that kind of got my attention, and it's not because I didn't expect it, but man, the way that the Cowboys, like the way that they did the Jets,
was more about the Cowboys.
Well, true, but what I'm saying is, and I don't mind. It's like it is not expect. It's not that it's not that I expected the Jets. That's why I said it's not. It was kind of the JV game because it was like, I knew it was going to happen. But the fact that they have given up 10 total points and they've scored 70 in 2 games, and I understand who they played and everything, but that kind of was like, because I had already penciled in an NFC Championship as Eagles and the 49ers, and the 49ers gave me no reason to believe that they're not going to be there. But Cowboys look strong. And then the only other one I had was I was a little bit alarmed at the fact that Philadelphia, their defense kind of showed some holes. I've said it like this.
Well, they lost a lot. They lost some guys though.
Right. And and I know they got to take time to gel. I'm only saying the gap between Philly and what I thought Dallas was in the NFC East is a little bit closer than I initially thought. And even the same thing, even though they're not going, I don't think they're going to really do a whole lot of damage in the playoffs. I do think that the Commanders, they're a lot more scrappy than people want to give them credit for, man.
They are.
I mean,
I think Denver's defense is terrible.
Denver's defense is they're not playing.
They're not even trying
here.
They
they'll try at the end once the season's over. Once December comes and the U-Haul games get here, when they were auditioning for the next team that they gonna go to, that's when they start playing. You know how Carolina did last year,
right.
Yeah. But that's it. I like the Colts caught my attention. So did Dallas, and then the Eagles caught my attention, but not for a good. I think the Eagles, they got some stuff to clean up.
I think the Eagles have that Super Bowl runner-up type of hangover, and they're bored, and they're just waiting. They want to fast forward the season to the playoffs to get back to the money.
Honestly,
I don't think anything's wrong with them. I think that's just waiting for the playoffs.
Well, there's just personnel-wise, there are a couple issues where the starting safety was out and Bradbury was out, and then on top of that, Maddox got hurt in the game, and another corner got hurt in the game. So they were literally out there with backups.
And they clear. The Eagles are going to be fine. Like they're fine.
Carter was the highest graded player in the whole league this week.
Easy. And nobody should be surprised though. And he's a whole the
second week in a row.
Eagles got him was criminal.
Yeah.
Well, it's like how Tampa got Warren Sapp.
Criminal.
Same way. And how Minnesota got Randy Moss.
Yeah. And that's the perfect example right there.
Yeah.
Like, because
or how Houston got Laramie Tunsil.
They are. It's just you looking at like, just trust me, for people who may not pay attention to the trenches, you watching something special when it comes to what he's out there doing.
Yep.
But yeah, no, I think the Eagles will be fine.
No, they're gonna be fine.
Said, like it once you just need starters to play in their positions. Like, you had corners playing in safety roles and safeties moving over to nickel, and like, it was a hot mess. And Justin Jefferson's the wrong person to not have the right people in the right places.
We were talking about it right before we came on. I said, man, it's got to be absolutely miserable to go for $159 and lose.
Mm-hmm.
So as I appropriately term this, the tree in the forest, that's what he is right now, because then I just don't think they're going anywhere. But for me, the surprise for the second week in a row, for a different reason, you were talking about tells and things kind of evening out. San Fran's defense is nice, but LA didn't care nothing about that. The Rams did not care that y'all filled the Pro Bowls. Man, another 15 catches, and Tutu followed up with another 7 for 80-something yards. Like,
the demise of the Rams is drastically.
They move the ball swiftly against them, and so what I'm talking about when it talks about the tell and how things balanced out, we were like, ooh, look at San Fran's defense when they shut down the Steelers. And then you look at the Steelers the second week, you're like, maybe that was the Steelers. I mean, not to say the 49ers defense ain't, balling, but it feels more like the Steelers had something to do with the 49ers looking that great. And same way with Dallas, the Giants were a hot mess for 6.5 quarters. For all the 6.5. Now Daniel Jones recovered, and and they made a comeback. But they made a comeback against a team that ain't trying to win. I don't know how you say.
Let's slow down.
Danny Dimes said we ain't losing to these mugs.
I said Dobbs did not get the losing script because he was out there running over people.
That's what I was getting ready to say, because. But trust me, I was sitting there. In fact, I chatted that. I was like, man, you mean to tell me the Cardinals don't even know how to tank right? And I was like, oh, wait a minute.
Dobbs has been on the bench in Pittsburgh. He came off off the street last year and played a game for Tennessee and almost won it. Dobbs trying to spit. Dobbs does not want to be a rocket scientist.
Against all his parents' best wishes.
Right.
They said they just look so
right. They just sit there like, we'll let him play football until he go do this rocket scientist thing.
Right.
She called him back
day off. Baby, that guy from MIT called again and wanted to know if you still interested.
Yeah, NASA called.
Right.
But the other one that shocked me, even though I called it and I was fine with it, but it just I got to mention the Bengals. Like, just the overall, like, they fought. Like, I mean, they fought and they gave it like the style and everything else, but it was just, it's really clunky right now. And I was actually shocked because you remember last week it was like they played in the rain was coming down sideways. Let's see. I was in Cincinnati this past weekend. The weather was perfect.
Oh, it was perfect.
It was a fabulous day. That 72 degrees without a breeze. Like, it was a great day in Cincinnati.
Here's the thing,
light breeze at your back.
Here's the thing, though. That and I'm just gonna say, even if Burrow was healthy, that's kind of the game you expect with the Ravens and the Bengals.
No.
Yes.
Not since Burrow been there, and not when they don't have no back end. They ain't have no Humphrey. They lost Peters. Burrow lit them up.
But that was without Lamar, and when they had like dudes who you call janitors starting at free safety. Again, team on team with the players they want early in the season, you expect it to be a 3-point game within a touchdown. You don't expect it to be the Bengals going to win by 20, or the Ravens gonna run away.
And as we see with the scores and stuff like that, it normally is, around a 1-score game. That's typically around the league itself, but it's about how you got there. Lamar looked like Lamar was supposed to look, and I was actually surprised because once Odell went and didn't come out at halftime, I thought that was going to be kind of a slow up in the process, but he still continued to keep that thing moving.
We knew OBJ was not going to make it to October. We all knew
that. I thought OBJ was going to make it, but the thing is, and this is going to be a praise report, that he made it out of the Bengals field without dying. Because that's where careers go to end, and it
wasn't Monday night though.
Right, or Thursday night. It's got to be a primetime game.
Oh, okay, that's what it is. When the moon come out is when everything.
Yeah, everybody got to be watching. They ain't gonna. Yeah, they got to have their undivided attention, not your divided attention.
With only 500,000 people watching, no, we got to have about 10.
The whole league got to be watching.
Yeah. Got it.
So put the whole league on notice.
He survived, with just an ankle tweak. So Baltimore got to count that as a victory. Just the fact that that's all that happened. Like, because
OBJ is.
But he looked. But I will say this: before that, though, he was looking crisp. And
the Harvin at the end.
The difference between
Harvin at the end.
Yes.
Yeah.
Where all you had to do was blow on. If they blew on him, he was out 3 weeks. But
you give him a high five too hard.
But if they didn't touch him, it was 6.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's kind of where OBJ is right now. He kind of where Percy Harvin was at the end.
I'll say this, and I maintain my position. The difference between the Ravens being in the AFC Championship this year and being at home after Week 18 is Lamar Jackson going to play in the playoffs?
Okay, health.
Then
in the AFC
all
Championship.
Things being equal, everybody healthy. I don't care about healthy Joe Burrow. I don't care about healthy Chiefs and nobody. Book it. Ravens are going to be playing the Dolphins in Miami for the AFC Championship if both of those men are standing upright. I just don't believe both of them are going to be standing upright.
Lamar, but for right now, Lamar looks. I mean, as the offense is evolving, Lamar looks really good.
They definitely made the right choice with Greg Roman. It ain't nothing. I mean, it was just time. He got the offensive coordinator. Yeah, absolutely.
So now we're moving on to the ballers. Who out there, and we'll start with you again, Billy, who out there deserves an award for putting that thing down on one of these Sunday, Thursday, Monday, whatever it was? Who deserves that award?
Well, I'll give you the easy one, which I said it, and I have no real feelings about this necessarily, because I can give you 3, but the first one is Tua Tagovailoa. Like his numbers didn't just like he ain't throw for 500, nothing crazy. Tua just looked like a man on a mission. He looked like his daddy is watching. He looked like he's scared to mess up.
Stupid.
Like, no, for real. Tua looked
his daddy on the sideline with the belt.
Tua looked like Alabama Crimson Tide, Nick Saban version. Like he looks like, and he has a command of it where it's like it looks his throwing motion, everything looks hard. It looked kind of easy. Like he didn't look like he was grinding and working hard.
And he getting the ball in his hands. So shout out to him for getting the ball, because they showed that his pitch clock, and he was doing the 1.8, 1.7.
Right, which means as much as I want to give Tua all the credit because he's the quarterback, the real credit belongs to Waddle and Tyreek.
Absolutely.
He's getting the ball like he ain't reading no defenses in 1.2 seconds.
He's saying fetch.
Yeah, he said, "Hey, here you go. Here you go. Do something."
So that's my first one. My second one.
Go change the score.
My second one is TJ Watt. what he
real
did
quick on TJ, because the league's attention is on Micah Parsons, which is rightfully so. I'm not throwing shade on that.
And that's why I'm going TJ Watt. Because it's easy to want to jump
out here
on
doing his thing.
Micah has had a far lower bar, meaning the competition, as far as I'm concerned, wasn't quite as great the past 2 weeks. I mean, you had the Jets and you had the Giants. TJ, man, look, dude, he's a whole he's a whole problem by himself. Absolutely. Like that man don't need no help. He coming. And then my last one, I kind of like what I saw from Matthew Stafford.
Okay.
Yeah, no,
because I think everybody kind of made a big deal out of the fact that he didn't want to sign an extension and all that kind of stuff. And then the Rams are supposed to be kind of down this year, and they still might be, but Matt Stafford was like, nobody told me.
Mm-hmm.
Like even in a losing effort, it's like he looks like I'll put it this way, I'm impressed anytime I see somebody that can show some resilience when he know we're not gonna win.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No.
But he's out there. Numbers, they actually are quality numbers. So those are my three that kind of stood out for me: quarterback, and then TJ Watt.
Okay.
What you got, Paul?
I'm gonna go with Puka for the second week. Puka's
15 catches is huge.
Game.
Like that's
he got some affinity for that one though. Like,
hey, 15 catches is 15 catches. That's nice.
That's Steve Largent-esque.
Argent, we talking like Anquan Bolton-esque. Like that's he different. I'm gonna go with Minka, since y'all won't give him his love. I'm gonna go with Minka. Minka completely just wrecked the whole division. The water is muddy now.
The water stank. Okay.
Yeah.
The whole filtration in the plant is just shut up.
Like, the water is so muddy in the north.
The
right
Ravens
now.
are like, do we really want to go in there? Because boy.
But he's out for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
I think. So, but I like Minka. Like I said, Tyreek is something else, man. He's doing something different. Shout out to Josh Allen for bouncing back. Played mistake-free football. You know what I'm saying? Hey, he was down and he came back up.
Yeah. No, I mean, you always got to give somebody props for that. But it's like
it's the Raiders.
No,
I get it. No, I 100%.
Raiders
it was on the road and it was a 1:00 game. I mean,
I got no problem giving them shout outs. I'm just saying
Raiders was on the road in a 1:00 game. But they checks do clear the bank.
This is true.
Barely.
They are
and I'll say this because I was checking that one out early before it ran away.
High school player.
I was watching that game a little bit. I had my eyes on that game on the other TV early because Jimmy G started out rolling.
Yes.
He started out. I was like, ooh, Buffalo might have. And I was already kind of just about to write the narrative, and then it was like, oh, here we go. They back.
And shout out to that running back Johnson from the Commanders. Robinson.
Robinson. Yes.
You
come having a day. That boy
in that second half was the best player in the building.
He was the best player on all three of the TVs because all three of them games. That second half, he was like, "No, I got it."
He looked like playoff Brandon Jacobs.
Yeah. No, he was out there getting it. I
Miniature Earl Campbell
and coming back from getting shot and everything. Like that's true inspirational story.
Yeah, he balled. He balled. He shut the door. He reeled in Denver and shut the door on them.
Yeah. So for me, I'm gonna start off with a man that proved one of my life lessons, which is to never let somebody find out they don't need you. DeAndre Swift. Kenneth Gainwell was out. He was the starter. He was hurt, and he's going to be a backup from this point forward because
he said he entering the portal.
Going for 175, like out there when it was absolutely needed. The offense is still, I mean, they're getting different coverages and it just looks different. But as the head coach, or not the head coach, as the offensive coordinator, still getting his feet wet. Yeah. To be able to say, you know what, we're just going to run the ball. We're just going to turn around.
And it's like you said about what's his name, Jefferson. You said 159 is 159. 175 is 175 on the moon, on the sun.
I don't care if it took 45 carries to get it,
man. Because this ain't college. 175 don't happen in the NFL like that. Yeah. Like this is that's a special performance. There,
that's like 40 points.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got him on fantasy. You won.
And then I'm gonna go down a level for my other impressive person, which is Shedeur Sanders.
I was gonna use that, but I thought we was gonna wait. But go ahead.
I gotta do it just because he needed 98 yards.
Yeah.
Had it been a regular, 75-yard drive, I might feel a little bit different. But he had to go 98.
And they were celebrating. He went in there with one hand behind his back too.
With the entire, which felt like the entire world watching, because it was 9.3 million people watching at 2:00 in the morning.
Yeah, I was going to say, how many people showed up at church on Sunday and was like, bro, man, I know you tired because I was tired.
That tailgate for Sunday was rough because
that was strong,
man. But for him to go 98 with the pressure of we cannot lose to this dude who talked about my grandmama. And Travis Hunter's out, and
they did a bunch of talking too, so that's why they couldn't lose. Now, if it had just been him saying something and they had never responded, it would have been fine.
Yeah, no, I mean,
coming out with the sunglasses.
My grandmama gave me that chain.
Yeah, but the answer to the Bills was, hey, talk your shit, man. You backed it up. You
like you said. What did we say? That's the theme of the day. 159 is 159. 175, 175. 98 yards. Is 98 yards.
100%. And
can't nothing beat 98 yards, but 99 yards.
And you needed a 2-point conversion. Yeah. So like all of that together, that was a special performance. Like that, we always walk around every year looking. I'm not saying he's winning it. I'm just saying you look for Heisman moments, and that definitely is one that's going to go on his if he makes it to New York. That's going on his New York reel.
Oh, that'll be on the reel.
To be able to drive 98.
Absolutely.
In defeat, these next 2 weeks, he's going to have to throw for at least 300 yards and 4 touchdowns in defeat.
I can dig it.
Because they're going to lose these next 2 weeks. They're going to come back down to earth these next 2 weeks.
Well, is that really coming back down to earth, though?
Yeah, because you got casuals talking about they're going to win the national championship. No. And I'm like, they only going to win like 2-3 games in the conference. Okay. Top.
Vegas is like, nah, cuz.
Yeah, Vegas got them down to 21
point dog. Double digit.
I know.
Like dogs.
Yeah. No, they are double-digit dogs against Oregon.
They were dogs like against TCU too. So
ain't no coming back to earth. Ain't no coming back down to earth when you're a double-digit dog.
I'm talking about the BET crowd. That's just it's cool because it's cool to like college football now. Right? Yeah, it's cool to like college football now, right?
Hey, but that is the prime effect. I will say that though, because on social media, you are seeing people who are saying, I haven't watched college football in a decade. And they got me up at 2:30 in the morning. So I appreciate that though. I really
do. You know what though? It's not to totally switch gears, but it's like Obama. Remember as soon as Obama ran, everybody became a political pundit.
Right.
Right. Yeah. Everybody knew what everybody's like, so how many electoral votes? How many electoral points do you get for saying it's like that ain't even what it's called.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's the electoral college.
I had a conversation. I had a conversation on the book. Cat was like, he's changing the landscape of college football. I'm like, he recruited some kids, and won 3 games. What did he change, bro? Like they paying kids everywhere. They paying kids at Georgia and Bama and Ohio State and Texas. Relax. He ain't doing nothing different than anybody else is doing other than wearing chains and sunglasses. That's it. That's literally the only difference.
And doing Aflac commercials with your boy.
So for a quick stat though, like I'm not saying like the actual sport is changing itself, but the viewership is changing.
Oh,
and that has to be at least not 9.3 million people watch that game. Hold on, before you say something.
Okay.
That's the 5th most watchers of a game on ESPN in their entire history.
Okay.
And that's Colorado versus Colorado State. Come on, dog. That's the number, and that was the number 1 time slot. Like nobody has ever watched a West Coast game for viewership. That shattered the West Coast viewership.
You know, all them stats. Like, you don't have to say.
Understood.
I got to church on Sunday. You have to know the composition of my church. The fact that people showed up to my church home on Sunday and was talking about how they was up late and they was tired, and that's why they didn't make it to Sunday school on time because they slept in a little bit because they was tired.
Okay.
Bruh, it's having, and these are people who don't necessarily. We ain't talking about just people that want him to win. We talking about people that don't want him to win.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
I like it.
To me, it's just the circuses in town. Now I'm rooting for Deion like hell, but I'm talking about like everything around it is a circus to me. Like, and Deion just there to play football and make a little change. Let's keep it 100. Deion he's not how could I put it? Mr. Morality. Like, he's a human being too. Like there's some PT Barnum going on. Like, and if you can't see it, you know what I'm saying? And I don't mean that as an insult. That he's always been unapologetic.
That's what I was gonna say. That's who he is. Yeah. I get it.
Yeah. That's it.
Either way, but that's a legit shout out. I'm with it. Yeah.
So now we got these games coming up this week. So give me a game that you're looking forward to this weekend, or Thursday, or whatever day you want to pick. Give me a game that you're looking forward to, Paul.
Okay. I'm gonna keep it a hundo bundo. I'm looking forward to Ohio State and Notre Dame. Like that's just what, and I'm looking forward to UC Oklahoma.
Really?
Yep.
You just want to go home. You miss home, huh?
No. After UC lost,
with you, man.
I'm just saying. UC lost to Miami, Oxford.
Yeah.
I want to see how bad. Like, Oklahoma is what, plus 14? I'm sorry, minus 14?
Minus 14, yeah.
Against a team that just lost to a MAC team?
Right.
That's the game. That's the game I'm saying is like a surefire.
I can see that. I'm picking up what you're putting down. That can be. That's one that you might be watching another game and you start looking at the ticker like, wait, hold on, what? And
it's 60.5 is the over under. Like, that might be. Oof. And hold on, I got another one for you. Clemson is only. I'm sorry, Florida State is only a 1.5 favorite over Clemson.
Oof.
After what Florida State did last week, I gotta believe they're gonna. I
gotta put some. Yeah, that's a put.
They did that because they was looking forward to Clemson.
And that's what I'm saying. I think Florida State gonna cover that easy. Like, I think.
Oh, that's what I was gonna say. Florida State they gonna dog walk them, man. They motivated. I think the coaches have their attention.
Was way too close. I know it was an inspirational day for Boston College with them celebrating, the firefighter and all that. Them jerseys are sweet, by the way. Shout out to that jersey with the bandana print. But there ain't no way in the world that
both of their uniforms was cold. I was watching that game.
Yeah, that was nice. So what say you, Billy?
I'm gonna make it real simple because I'm gonna throw some money in here too. Number one. I think what the Bengals do on I'm gonna revert to what the Bengals do on Monday night at home against the Rams. I think this is it for the Bengals season, period. And I'm not even just talking wins or losses. I'm talking about who plays, if Burrow sits, whatever they're gonna do. It's got late. What Yogi Berra used to say is getting late early.
Yeah,
it done got late early. So that's number one. I won't belabor that too much.
Especially with the Bengals back end not being steady and that boy Puka going off.
So that's number one. Number two, Now,
Puka and Tutu.
Here's number 2.
They got to have some sort of like commercial or something around LA. Puka and Tutu.
This is where the money comes in. Take New England over the Jets. Period. Really? Full stop. I don't even know what the line is on that yet. Don't matter. Don't
3
care.
right now. The Patriots.
I'm looking at it right now.
Don't matter. Okay, because here's the thing: the Patriots have actually looked better than their record would indicate. The Patriots.
Mac Jones versus that defense.
Nah, don't care. Nope. If you look at it, there are 17 out of 18.
Whatever special teams going to determine that game.
Yeah,
you can
go.
So
that's number 1.
Yes.
And here's the thing. And I'm taking Hoodie on that all day. That's another one. Here's more money for you real quick. I don't care what the spread is. The Chiefs are going to annihilate the Bears. Go ahead and get your money.
It's 13. It's 13.
Okay. I wouldn't care if it was 16. Take the money. They're going to destroy.
49 is the over-under.
What's that?
49 is the over.
I wouldn't touch the over-under only because the Kansas City Chiefs defense is much improved.
Yes.
They might actually freeze out there. They might actually hold the Bears to like under 10. Like it could happen.
If they keep the offense the same, it's definitely
yeah. I'm just saying.
So that's the other Claypool decide to play hard though.
And then my last one for the money is I'll say this. One more for the money real quick, and this is actually the Thursday one. I actually like this one to be over. The Giants versus the 49ers. What is the over on that? What's it like?
45 and a half.
Yeah. I like the over. That looks like 24-27 to me. And I really don't have a read on that. I just know that Daniel Jones is not going to look like he did in week 1.
He's not going to look like he did in the second half either, though.
Well, that's the thing, but there's so much room in it. And then the I have no idea how this is going to look. I think the other game is going to tell me something. I think Buffalo versus Washington is actually a tail game.
That absolutely is.
That is. They got Buffalo with is favored by 6.5, and the over under is 45.5.
It's in DC. I like that to be.
That's just down the road. That's not a real travel. Like it's not a big deal.
No,
East Coast.
They got to pack a couple pairs of clothes to go there now. It ain't like a
day trip. They can fly there in the morning.
Either way, I think with the way that Josh Allen has been playing, his being sporadic up and down, I think the Commanders will actually present some. In other words, I think the Bills late might pull it out, but I think that's going to be one of those games that's going to tell me whether or not Washington is for real or if Buffalo's for real. Because I don't really know what to make of each of them, and I think that's a game I'm interested in. I don't have no idea about the money put there. That's what I got.
Right. Well, I like that one. So let me just real quick for that game. Since I'll just start in reverse order for the Bills and Commanders game. Take the 6.5 if you are the Commanders. It's not going to be a 6.5 point game. That one's going to be a lot closer. Field goal,
turnover,
it's going to be a turnover, something like that. Seven ain't going to be the Bills if they do win. Is not going to be by 7. I'm gonna wait to kind of see, but I may even put a gut feeling that the Commanders might win that one. The other one I'm kind of looking forward to, and it's another one that's going to fly under the radar because the matchups aren't necessarily, on paper awesome this week in the NFL. But I do want to see what the Eagles look like against the Buccaneers, just to kind of see if because for that's a defensive get right game for the Eagles, or that could be, Baker's been slinging it. And
that's I told you Bakers suck for the haters game. That's what that is. That's
I honestly don't think that's how. I think Andre might be on. I don't think Baker. I think Baker is great in this type of position though.
This is
people are counting him.
He is the underdog player.
Nobody,
which is why he my guy.
Like Baker.
Yeah, so I think that one might be more interesting. I think the Eagles should pull away late. But I think that one's going to be a good one. But the one that I definitely got circled, even though it's on nobody else's radar, probably but mine. The Falcons and Lions game.
I had that circle too.
I am looking forward to that one just because, the Lions coming off of a loss. The Falcons are 2-0. I told y'all Desmond Ridder only had to be marginal because Bijan Robinson is special. And my man is out here. Yeah. I don't know if you haven't seen his highlights. Go YouTube the highlights from last week.
Yeah. Their whole running back room is good because the Algier kid is dope too.
He is. But Robinson on the one run shook about 6 Packers. And I'm talking about snapped them off too. It was nice. Mm-hmm. But yeah,
for no other reason, right, real quick, and for no other reason than the fact he's my favorite coach in the NFL. Pittsburgh at Vegas, trust me, it's gonna the score is gonna end up being 25 to
spread is only 1
or something. Yeah. What? I don't even care. Mike Thomas is gonna find a way to get 9 wins.
That's TJ Watt. TJ Watt and Minkah Fitzpatrick will figure that out for him.
Yeah. So, but the reason that spread is only 1 is because they probably only think they're gonna think the final score is gonna be 1-0.
He's saying it's gonna be 9-7.
Right, 2-0.
2-5.
Right.
So what line catches your eye, Paul?
Back to college. Carolina is giving 7 to Pitt.
Ooh.
Who lost to UC, who lost to a MAC team. And Carolina has arguably the number 1 draft pick at quarterback. And Baylor is giving up 14.5 to Texas is giving up 14.5 to Baylor.
That is intriguing right there. I did see that one.
And the over is 51.5. I think Baylor covers and take the over because ain't no defense getting played in that game. Mm-hmm. That's a Big 12 matchup. That's going to be 60 to 50.
48 to 59.
Right. I think Baylor
and don't let it go to overtime.
Right.
No,
so that was it.
That. Yeah. No, those is nice. I like that. I like that one. Thank you for bringing college into this, Paul, because that was nice. I like that one.
Yeah. That's all I got.
Go ahead and wrap
it. And real quick, get that money on Miami, Denver. Denver has to come to 1:00, play on 1:00 in Miami.
Yeah.
Go on, get your
6.5.
Get your money.
48.5. I would just take the over. I wouldn't even mess with the spread because the Broncos can score.
Huh?
I wouldn't mess with the spread because the Broncos can score.
Miami's defense, that's the reason why I like what I'm seeing. Their defense is strong, man.
I would take the over, though. I would definitely take the over.
This is the type of game that Tua gets hurt in, though.
Right.
We was trying to get through the show without that.
Right.
Come on,
right.
Man.
This is that kind of game.
You can just put roots on the man.
This is that kind of game. This is that where it's just.
When you say Andre,
right, just
it's one score away from him being pulled out the game, and here you go, Karate Kid that got slammed up his head.
Right,
man.
Hut.
All right, well that's it. We would like to thank you once again for joining us on our weekly wrap-up and preview show. As always, we'd like to remind you that none of our comments regarding gambling are to be considered advice for you to follow. If you have a gambling problem, please reach out to the numerous, very efficient and very effective forms of help out there online. There's 800 numbers you can call. Just know that we are not the place to get the help because we're losing just like you. So with that, we'd like to thank you once again for joining us. If you have comments, questions, if you got ideas, takes, if you got some teams or some players that you want some feedback on, you want us to give our take on it, we'd love to hear it. Leave a comment. We always thank you guys for following us on all of our platforms, all of our ways that we stream and get this out to you. We enjoy it. We look forward to seeing you again next week. Peace.